Actually, there is already a Silk Road, Sea Silk Road, because all ships going to China or coming from China have to pass ASEAN countries, particularly Malaysia. It's not a threat to anybody. It's merely towards prospering the world. China's policy is to include everybody, including the US. So that is why we support the new banks, because we will have access to funds, and of course China will have most of the funds for our own development. Malaysia is in the middle of the ASEAN countries. So Malaysia is very suitable to become a hub. We have a bigger capacity than Singapore. So we cannot copy what Singapore does because they are small and specialized. He has done a great job for developing Singapore, but the focus in Singapore is on finance. It's a financial center because of shortage of land. So there are limitations for Singapore because of its size. China's political system, will not be democratic, but they change their leaders. Every 10 years they change leaders. So leaders cannot remain in power for life like Mo Zedong, because you allow changes in the leadership. Each leader introduce new ideas that has helped to develop China, and also to to ensure that the system in China is less corrupt than before. When you talk about China, you have to remember that it is a very big country with the biggest population in the world. Governing China is a very difficult process. So if you have freedom of democratic freedom and all that, it will result in clashes and instability. People wanting to change China, but China has already changed. At the time when I became Prime Minister, China was still very backward and very poor. But very quickly, China became a big manufacturing nation. And Chinese goods are very cheap. So because of that, we can benefit from the low-cost Chinese products. At the same time, because China is much more prosperous, its capacity to buy goods from outside is increased. And now, of course, China is exporting capital. They are investing in countries like Malaysia. So there is, to us, this Chinese development is beneficial to us. We don't like the idea that the US wants to encircle China to prevent it from becoming powerful. Because if you try to encircle China, you try to bring military, navy and all that here, the Chinese response would be to build up their military strength. Because they have the money now, they have the technology. Eastern people should not resort to war, because traditionally we don't go to war. You see, China never conquered Malaysia, but the British came, the Portuguese came, they conquered Malaysia. That is the Western way. We think that Asian values are superior to Western values. You know, Asians still think that you should show respect to your parents, older people. You should respect authority, and you should be not too free and do things which would upset other people. So those are Asian values. Asia is growing very fast, particularly China. Asia will play a very big role in the economy of the world. Obviously, in future, Asian values would be much more accepted. We should stay with our own values, and hopefully our values will become universal values.